are on your list. But any student that is not on your list, he has added a separate list located in your binder. So if there's not a student, do not add any extra students onto the original list. There's a blank list that he has given you. And so we need to add those students' names to the list. And that it's what's gonna make it it's gonna make it right to be on the list. So if we ever get audited, those are the paper, the information that they're gonna look at. So please, when the eligible rider list, when we do it again, do not add any students on the original list. There's a separate list that he wants you to add them on there. So he will let you know which ones you are. I know some of them are added on the original list. He will let you know, please, or we will let you know what students need to be added on the list. So, and when we check them, we're gonna make sure that you transfer them to the separate list. Any questions on that, please ask me or Daniel or any of us, the supervisors, so you'll know that you'll be aware of. Okay, the next thing I wanna talk about is you had a district email from Jennifer Garcia concerning your 2021 W-2 form. She sent an email last week, and if you need to go into the Employee Service Center under pay information, and it will show an email. Okay, the payroll department is in the process of doing the 2021 employee W-2 forms, and it'll be available electronic. And so if you're electing to receive your W-2 form electronic format, it's made available, but I don't think they're there. They're there to retrieve it there yet. Any employee who prefers to receive the W-2 in paper, it will be mailed. If the replacement is needed, you won't be able to get it until February the 1st. So it'll be available electronically. If not, if you need it by mail or if you need a paper copy, please look into February 1st, so you could wait till February 1st so you can get your W-2 form. If you have any questions, please contact us or email Ms. Jennifer Garcia if any questions on your W-2 form. But you might have to wait till January the 31st to February 1st for those to come out. But if you're gonna get them electronically, you can go into your in your Employee Service Center, and it will be there electronically. So just give it some time. They're still working on them, but I would wait till January 31st or February 1st to get them electronically. Okay. And the last thing I have on my agenda is please put this on your calendar. Monday on January the 17th, it's a student staff holiday. Don't know if you know, there's no school on Monday. So make sure you put that on your agenda so you will not show up and work on Monday. Monday, January the 17th is a student staff holiday. So there will be no school on Monday. Okay, that's my information from the agenda. And I know Mr. De La Cruz got his stuff on his agenda.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Crystal, can you show the agenda on the screen, or do you want me to do it? Luke, Crystal.
I'm sorry, you have access to it if you can get to it. I can do it in a second though, but.
All right. Oh, I have access to it. Okay, then let me go ahead and.
I got it, sir.
You got it? Can you zoom in?
Oh, yes.
Probably a little bit bigger, man. A little bit more bigger. All right, I think that's good. I think everybody pretty much can read it, follow along, that is. first of all, I'm glad to see that we have 51 participants. And like Mr. Tamayo said, we're going to. Can somebody turn off their mute themselves? 'Cause I think that's where we're getting the echo. If you hear echo, Krista, we'll mute everyone. So as Mr. Tamayo was saying, this is the format that we will be conducting our meetings. And there were some valuable lessons learned in conducting our meetings during Zoom. And I will follow up with what Mr. Tamayo said. It's while we're in the meeting, and I think everyone will agree more, this is probably more convenient for the majority of the drivers and beings in the portable, right? So we have that luxury of you being on your own, albeit at home or in your stationary somewhere safely, participating in this meeting. And if you're participating in this meeting officially, we want to make sure that we don't have still shots of individuals. We want to make sure that everybody's clear on that. We want to make sure that everyone is actively engaged by listening, not doing any other activity that, because remember, while you're in this meeting, you're being paid by the district. And it's really difficult to justify someone getting paid while doing something else and not actively engaged, right? We're going to try to make these meetings as engaging as possible, right? But at least now we're out of that environment and something more comfortable for you. So hopefully that helps, ladies and gentlemen. So we need your cooperation on that side, okay? Before we proceed. All right, item number one for me is the face mask. We all know that back in November 29th, the district stopped making it a mandate, but we highly encourage everyone to wear their mask. And more so recently with current events, you know, you can encourage your students to wear the mask on the bus, you know, and from what I'm seeing when we're at the campuses, for the most part, a lot of them are wearing their mask. And one way we can also tell that is by the number of masks that you keep asking for. So that's good. That means students are asking for masks. So highly encourage your students to wear their mask, please, but do not require them to do it. On item number two, the revisions to the COVID-19 protocols, walking in the building in the mornings and afternoons. You know, we had someone make some recommendations, you know, we live and learn, you know, we review and modify. That is the mantra in education, continuous improvement. You know, if something needs to be improved, because this process or this pandemic that we're going through, it's evolving and we have to evolve. Our practices have to evolve too. It's not all set in stone. But when there is something that we can improve on, we definitely will work on. We will check with our superiors and see, you know what, maybe we can do this differently, and it can. So please follow along on number two. Walking in the buildings. If you are able to clock in with your cell phone, you may walk in earlier to obtain your PPE box, check your cubby, and get your key. Please do not wait in the foyer area unless you have to speak with someone from the dispatch office. Make sure that your district approved disinfectant is, to clean your bus, that you have, that you're using that. In other words, and I think that was an incomplete statement there. So when you walk in, and I was talking to Gracie and with Sonia too, is that if you clock in using your cell phone and you want to come in earlier to avoid having the crowd, and we're trying to remember, you still have to practice social distancing when you're waiting outside. We've done this before, ladies and gentlemen, so this is nothing new. What we're modifying now is the fact that you can walk in if you clock in using your cell phone. Here's the catch. Do not clock in when you're walking in. You clock in at clock in using your phone at your assigned clock in time, right? In the mornings, or in the afternoons, it's 2:15, right? We can work with that. And it makes sense, you know. Go ahead and let, and it's not everybody that's doing it. It's a couple of people that choose to do that, and that's okay. You know, if you're using your cell phone. So that is permissible. So when you get to your bus, that doesn't mean you start your bus right away. You have to give it some, do not be turning on your bus so that you can idle. Turn on your bus when it's time for you to turn on your bus, meaning at your scheduled time. If you walk in 10 minutes early, please don't be idling on that bus for that extra 10 minutes before 2:15 or even before your morning clock-in time. You know, Rick and the shop staff would also say that, you know what, that is not good for the bus to be idling at least 20 minutes, 30 minutes before you even leave the yard, right? So please make sure you don't turn on that bus. And I have to mention this because we have that ability. We can run an idling report to see who's turning on their buses. Do we want to do that? We don't want to do that. That's extra time that we have to spend in research who's turning on their bus. So please, let's do the right thing. Get in there. If you're gonna get in there early, you have that's a review and a modification that we made to our COVID-19 practices or protocols of coming into the building. But don't start that bus until it's time to start that bus. Okay. Next on the list, make sure that you are bringing in your PPE boxes or your tote bags. And I have to say this, ladies and gentlemen, I think we've all gotten kind of laxed over time. You know, many of you are leaving your boxes in the bus, saying for whatever reason, we get it. But you know what? Now we're in a new different time with this pandemic, right? With this new variant. And we need to make sure that when we get asked, are you exercising those protocols, that we are true to our word? That means, yes, we are doing it. There are no exceptions. As far as I know, that no one should be leaving their box in their bus. Please bring it so that we can start spraying it after the morning run and after the PM run. And I get it. It's cumbersome to carry that box with you around. But during this time, that is what needs to happen. And once again, I applaud you because we've been doing it already. But like I said before, I think we got kind of laxed on that. So everyone, please bring your box in and your tote bags in so that we can spray them. And not only that, please make sure that you're restocking your items or your supplies in that box, right? We see a couple of people coming in and asking for the disinfectant, the spray, the NABC. We get gloves. We have people asking for trash bags. But it has been brought to our attention that when, especially now, unfortunately, with more recent events, we're having people driving other buses. And you know what? That box has been found on the bus. And unfortunately, the items, it's not fully restocked, right? It's empty with something. So we need to make sure that you keep your box restocked, you know, be proactive about that. So I hope everyone is clear about the expectation for that PPE box. It's for the sake of having good practices, everyone needs to bring them in after every run. Bring that box and bring that tote bag, okay? Next is going to be the vest. And we've talked about this, I've talked about this during the years when now we have introduced the vest, the safety vest. One of the things that we've always said is to order that vest big enough for you to wear it during the winter time. And this is going to be just a general reminder for everyone, but individually, I will be having conversations with those individuals that persistently are not wearing their vest. This is not an option. This is not something that you have a choice to wear on certain days or not. There is a reason you need to wear it. And I've mentioned this before in our meetings. When I go and see VIA or Waste Management, all these individual drivers and even other commercial companies that require of their drivers, they wear their vests. And for the most part, we do too. And you guys are doing a great job. But we still have some individuals that, for whatever reason, if you forgot, get with the dispatch office and see if we have the extra vests. We're going to try to get some more extra vests so that we have them. And not only that, return them. If you borrow it, please return them. But in general, my statement is this: please wear your vest, because we had or I at least had a different perspective in watching the video on a bus and watching the drivers walking across the parking lot. It is critical. Nothing that you will tell me from now on after watching that video is going to convince me and saying that your argument for not wearing the vest is going to supersede that, ladies and gentlemen. It was an eye-opening experience. And let me expand on that too. When we are walking in the yard, please be mindful of that bus driving around. And the driver that's driving that bus, be mindful of that speed limit. It will be a lose-lose situation if somebody gets into that accident or somebody gets hit by a bus. It will be a lose-lose situation, and we don't want that. Please wear your vest. I cannot stress that more in a serious tone than right now, than making sure you wear your vest. It is non-negotiable. You forgot it, we're gonna try to make sure that we have some in the dispatch. But for the safety of everybody, and I will say this again too, and watching that video opened my eyes even further to this statement: stay within those yellow lines. It makes a big difference, ladies and gentlemen. Stay within those yellow lines. I do not want to have, or Mr. Tamayo, standing out there and telling drivers, which sounds almost elementary, stay within the lines, stay within the lines. There is a reason now why we have those lines, right? And let me add a little bit more context to this. That dumpster, we've been trying to get it to move over. I don't know if it's been moved over to closer to the light pole, right? It focuses, or it has people walking around it, and the drivers have a more narrow space or less space to really drive around it. And we cannot have people going around that dumpster if it's not closer to the light pole, and more so if you're not wearing your vest. So please be mindful of that. We need to, let me rephrase that. The driver needs to see you when they're driving on that bus. And if you're wearing your plain jacket or anything like that with nothing reflective that the driver cannot see, it is going to be more difficult. And I will tell you this: the bus is not going to feel anything. You're the one that's going to feel it. And you know what, ladies and gentlemen, that's not worth it. It is not worth it. So that's how serious we are about making sure you wear your vest. You may not agree with it. You may think that, you know what, there's plenty of lighting or the drivers are careful. Yes, and all that is good. But I will end with this. If we ever have a situation out there where, let's say, a driver that's walking has an accident with the bus that is moving, I know I said lose-lose, but I think the driver that's walking is going to lose more physically, and we don't want that. We will never want that for anybody. So please make sure you're wearing your vest at all times when you're out there in the yard. So if you have any questions, please do not hesitate to come and see me, and a lot of you do. We appreciate that. We'd rather hear it from you, and let's see if we can work with it, okay? Next, we want to make sure that we improve on this practice in contacting you when we have an emergency, right? We used to use the school messenger, and it's effective, but it's effective when it's pre-planned, right? And even up to the last minute, we can still use it. But now what the district is using and what the campuses are using is more the Remind platform to get a hold of people. Because if you send out a message, now you don't even have to, at a certain level, you don't have to have the consent of those people. You just send it out to them, they receive it, right? But the important thing is you need to make sure that the numbers are correct, right? So please make sure that your cell phone number is up to date with Jennifer. And more importantly, that it's also up to date with HR. So anytime you change your phone numbers, please make sure that you tell Jennifer and you let HR know, because HR will send out those messages and you will get them. It can be relating to COVID. It can be related to food closures. It can be related to any kind of emergency that it's a district level, right? But for us, if we need to provide transportation, we want to make sure that we can pinpoint and be more accurate at our department level. Okay, so make sure that your cell phones are up to date with Jennifer and HR. That one of the things that I am going to do is I'm going to do a test run. Once I make sure I revise the list to make sure that everybody has their numbers up to date, so that we can do those blasts through Remind to let you know if any of an emergency and what have you. That for me is Saturday cancellations. We've been doing very well, and it's just as a continuous reminder, if you're going to cancel a field trip for Saturday, please make sure, if you know well in advance, let Linda know right away so that we can go down the list. If not, if we have to call someone that day, either ordinarily, we don't have anybody on standby, but we do have a list of go-to people who will, you know what, hey, if you need somebody, Linda have asked for that, so we'll use that list. But please, we do not want to leave the students lingering on at the campus while we're looking for a driver. So if you know in advance that you're not going to be able to do a Saturday morning trip, and you know Friday night, please, I would appreciate that call on a Friday night. Again, 30 minutes before the trip pickup time, right? So if you can exercise that courtesy, that would be awesome for the kids. Okay. And that's pretty much it for me. I think Mr. Tamayo is going to be making some closing remarks. And Mr. Tamayo, I'll hand it over to you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. De La Cruz. I got two things for closing remarks. One thing I want to say is the administrators from, especially from the high school, they called me last week and they say what a wonderful job y'all are doing on second loads. So they're real thrilled. Yes, they're out there, they're waiting and everything, but they see how efficient and how you are teaming up and how y'all are helping and communicating with them of getting the students, because as you know, on a day-to-day basis, routes change, bus numbers change, drivers are calling in and everything. And so they just want to say a big thank you, especially the high school, both high schools, for doing a well done job getting our students home. And so they're knowing that, like Mr. De La Cruz said, that he sends out an email to the campuses and to the principals about the second loads and how to get the routes coordinated. And so it keeps them in the routine of what's going on. So big kudos to Mr. De La Cruz for the communication with the campuses and all that. So that's really helping a lot. And so, and they're really appreciative. And it's just not transportation, it's all campuses, including with teachers being shortage and everything. So they're being appreciative of how we are still getting our students home from school to home or from home to school. And they see a job well done to all your drivers. So kudos to all you drivers for pulling together, coming together and doing the job that we're supposed to do is transport our kids to school and from home in a safe manner. So thank you for all of everything that you've done on that part. And like I said, the administrators, just want to say thank you for, a job well done to keep doing what we're doing. The other thing I want to, before we close out, I want to bring up is last week we had a little incident about a student crossing the street and got hit by a vehicle. And so we just want to make sure that, especially if you're a driver or sub driver and everything, is to communicate with the kids to make sure if they're getting on the right side or they have to get across the road to get them across safely. And so I just want you to be aware of, especially when kids have to cross the road. All you got to do is communicate, ask, hey, are you living on the right side, or do you live on, do you have to cross the road? That way, when you're communicating with them, you can have eye contact. When you can let them know, I need you to stand in my bus, and everybody should know it's 10 feet. So that way, you know, you can wave them on. So we got to get back to that, to that routine. And it's just a friendly reminder to do the best we can to help our kids get home safely and cross the street safely. So I just want to bring that up. Yes, everything is okay with the kid. The administrator has been in contact. So yeah, the kid did get hit pretty solid, and so we just want to keep those reminders about the kids crossing the street, and we as bus drivers to communicate with the student to say, hey, we need to get you across the street safely. And so just be aware of that. And so let's keep thinking about safely about our kids, right? And so I just wanted to bring that up to you so we can be aware of our situation, as we have at least 60 routes on the road, and we are continuous moving kids down the road and up and down the road. So we want to make sure we get them safely.
And Mr. Tamayo, one of the things that we want to remind people is, you know, if we can share information regarding the accident, we will share with you, because we want you to be aware in terms of, you know, what's going on. And if it's something dealing with safety, you bet we're going to definitely share that with you. And next week, I think Crystal will be touching on reviewing some practices, right? It's so no doubt about that. But one thing that we want to caution people, and this is for everyone, is please do not be spreading or providing misinformation. If you weren't there, you don't know the facts, plain and simple. So don't be talking about it. You don't have the facts. So please be mindful of that, okay? Do not be sharing information that you were not a personal witness to, or whatever the situation might be. Because by the time the third person gets that information, or the fourth person, it becomes a totally different situation from when it originally occurred. So be mindful of that. We want to make sure that everyone is aware of that. And that if everyone has the information, everyone has accurate information, not someone who speculates and then shares misinformation. So please, and if you do hear something, bring it to Mr. Tamayo's attention, or me. You know, we want to definitely nip that in the bud, so to speak, that if someone is saying something, want to bring it to their attention. Hey, we heard this. Is this accurate? You know, so please make sure that if you are not a personal witness to a situation, please don't be sharing information that is not accurate, okay? And I think that is what we will close. But one more item before I forget. And Mr. Tamayo, I know he says that I do send out those messages via Here Comes the Bus, but Jennifer, Linda, and everyone else in the dispatch office, they also do their part in making sure that we tell the campuses, aside from you, the campuses from knowing what's going on. And right now, these are trying times. They really are. And right now, it's kudos to everyone, because everyone is making it happen. And the campuses are very understanding. Like Mr. Tamayo said, if you think we're short on drivers, they are short on not only just teachers, but substitute teachers. So guess what they do when they don't have a substitute? They split the class, right? So that other classroom teacher takes the load, and they all work in unison. They all work together. They all help each other. And that is what we're doing here too, like Mr. Tamayo said. All right, Mr. Tamayo, thank you. And it's all yours, sir, for final words, or if that's it, that's part on it.
Just want to say thank you, drivers, for joining the Zoom meeting. This will be going on until further notice. And so I just want to say thank you. And please don't forget, Monday is Martin Luther King Day. And so that is a student staff holiday. So just keep mindful to rest on Monday. So we just want to give you that in advance. So have a good restful day. Don't forget, we still have the 4 days to go to finish the week. So let's be strong and let's come together and get it done day by day as we work together every day. Thank you and have a good day.